As we saw earlier, Live View enables you to display a real-time video image on the LCD monitor instead of using the normal optical viewfinder to compose your photos. Now, Live View on the D5000 can be very convenient when the camera is being held at an angle that makes using the optical viewfinder difficult. But I don't recommend it for routine handheld shooting because it makes the camera too awkward to aim and hold steady. You know, the D5000 is not a tiny point-and-shoot camera. It's an advanced SLR with an extremely high-quality optical viewfinder, so use it. But for those rare occasions when it does make sense to use Live View, you can turn it on by pressing the Live View button. And it's ready to go. To take the picture, just press the shutter button. As you just witnessed, another disadvantage with using Live View, besides making the camera hard to handle, is that autofocus and exposure metering won't be as fast or as accurate. And that delay will really slow you down in some shooting situations and could result in missed shots. Even Nikon warns in the owner's manual that there are about a dozen different situations where autofocus simply won't work very well during Live View. Although you can change the focusing mode for Live View by going to menu number A3 and choosing a different mode, it doesn't really help. In my experience with the D5000, even the face priority mode is completely unreliable. My advice is to avoid using Live View, but when you do use it, leave this setting on wide area and hope for the best. The D5000's movie mode is without a doubt the camera's most unusual feature for an SLR. Compared to tiny point-and-shoot cameras and cell phones that also shoot video, the D5000 delivers improved picture quality and, of course, many lens options to stretch your creative wings. One thing I really appreciate about video from the D5000 is that there are no tapes to transfer. And unlike the current crop of tapeless video camcorders, the video files that the D5000 records are not an incompatible format. They're just regular AVI files, almost the video equivalent of JPEG files. The video clips are easy to watch using Windows Media Player, Apple QuickTime, and most of the popular video editing programs. Whenever you're using the D5000's Live View mode, you can press the OK button to begin recording a movie, and then press it again to stop recording. How's that for being easy? A built-in microphone on the front of the camera records sound, while a speaker on the rear handles playback. Let's go to the Shooting menu tab and choose Movie Settings. 3 movie formats are available, the highest resolution being HD at 1280 by 720 pixels. The 640 by 424 mode is roughly equivalent to a regular standard definition television picture, and the 320 by 216 mode records smaller movies that you could post on a web page. The maximum continuous recording time is 5 minutes with the HD setting or 20 minutes with the other two. Your choice of which movie mode is best for you will be determined by several factors. How will your movie be shown? Do you have an HD television that is capable of showing the HD movies that you shoot? Will you be editing your movies? If so, what resolution can your editing software handle? And so forth. Only you can answer these questions for you, and I strongly suggest that you do some experimenting right now before you shoot important movies with settings that were the wrong choice. In professional video production, that's called testing your workflow. Now, while the movie mode does make capturing short video clips convenient and easy to do, it's certainly not meant to replace a dedicated camcorder. So if you don't expect too much from it, you'll probably be happy with the results. But if you want to shoot high-end HD video, you're going to face a lot of challenges. Here are some of the limitations of movie shooting that you should be aware of. Once the movie has started recording, there's no autofocusing. Only manual focus adjustments are possible, and that's very hard to do by looking at the LCD monitor. The exposure will fluctuate constantly, getting brighter or darker whenever the camera or subject moves. The camera will tend to overexpose most movies, and it's very difficult to judge whether the exposure is right or wrong just by looking at the monitor. The camera only shoots 24 frames per second, instead of the normal 30 frames per second you're accustomed to seeing on TV. So motion in your videos might look a little jerky to you. Here are a few tips to help you overcome some of these challenges. When Live View is turned on, you can use the Playback Zoom In button to electronically magnify the image shown on the LCD monitor to make focusing easier before you start recording. Then when you press the OK button to start recording, the image automatically switches back to the normal view. If the exposure doesn't look right to you on the LCD monitor, hold down the exposure compensation button and rotate the command dial to make the image lighter or darker. This is really the only influence you have over the exposure. I usually set my exposure compensation to -0.7. To avoid the problem of having the exposure fluctuate during the recording, you can use your thumb to hold down the exposure lock button while you record a movie. This icon lets you know that the exposure is locked and won't change unless you take your thumb off the button. So those are just a few easy-to-follow tips to make your movie shooting more successful if you want to try and get high-quality results.